I think and then in addition, I think I'm going to start at a very basic level, and I think we need to give consideration in leadership development and how leadership is defined. Because if you don't know how you're defining it, how do you develop a leader? So in a traditional view of leadership, traditionally, leaders are those people who are in charge, right? Doesn't matter what they're doing. If they're a CEO, they've got the job title, they're a manager, they're a senior director, they're a leader. People who get to the top, people that emerge from, get their quick promotions, get moved up the ladder, they're considered leaders, right? And in a traditional view, subordinates are considered to serve the leader. That's what they're there for. No wonder it's stressful for them, right? And in a traditional view, attributes of a good leader are charisma and charm, oftentimes. So, and the legitimacy of a leader is often conferred by their title. Once again, that's a little circular. In traditional views, training is optional because if you're a leader, you're already good at what you do. Oftentimes, the focus is on high performers, high potentials. You know, the goal is to get into the high potential program in your organization, right? And the traditional view is also that good leadership is normative. That even if you have a couple poor ones, I mean, you saw the statistics, most of you might be thinking, oh, 65% of the leaders are bad, is that true? I think if you stop and think about it for a moment and you think of a leader in your career or in your life, if you can think of even one that you'd like to emulate, you might only come up with one, right? As opposed to 3 or 4 that you've had that you would not like to emulate. So good leadership is normative in the traditional view. So how should leadership be defined then? Carefully. Leadership really is the ability to build and maintain a high-performing team. And that's not a traditional point of view, but that is the Hogan view, and I believe it strongly. I mean, leadership should be evaluated by the performance of the team, not by their title, not by where they sit in the organization. And Dr. Hogan mentioned this, and I believe it's true too. Leadership is a resource for the group. It's not a privilege for the incumbent. I think as soon as you start thinking about yourself in a leadership role, you've already lost the game. You should always be thinking about the team, how you can coach them, how you can develop them. You're there to make them better. You're there to make the organization better. So good leaders, it goes without saying, I guess it's Captain Obvious, but good leaders build effective teams, and bad leaders destroy them. Let's look at the Hogan definition of leadership. I just went through the traditional view, but if we do the definition of a leader, people in charge, in our view, it's people who build teams. The goal of the leader, get to the top. That's where I want to be. I want to be able to sit up there and see everything and be in charge, right? But the goal of the leader is to outperform the rival teams, right? Subordinates role. The traditional, serve the leader. In the Hogan view, help the leader. The key attributes, charisma and confidence. No, how about humility and competence? Dr. Hogan talked a little bit about humility and competence and what that leads to. Listening, being able to change directions. If you make a bad decision, being able to fix it. If you're not humble, that's never going to happen. Legitimacy of a leader, conferred by title and status. This is conferred by subordinates' approval. The team actually getting better. The team saying, yes, is a good leader. I'll follow them anywhere. The role of training, we think, is essential. It's not optional. The focus is on successful teams, not successful individuals. And the role of ambition, the role of ambition in the team, competition within the teams, no, competition between the teams. Make your team better than the other team, right? And good leadership, in our view, is the exception and not the rule.